Hi and welcome to episode 95 of the This is Reportage podcast. My name is Alan Law. I'm the founder of This Reportage and This Reportage Family, and I'm a photographer too. Excited to have the fab Agata Szymanowicz on the podcast this week. Based in London, Agata has won an incredibly impressive 10 Reportage Family Awards from us, and she goes behind the scenes of a couple of those today, as well as much more, including how she approaches a typical family shoot, her Waiting for the Miracle project, top tips for better documentary family coverage, why I think her website is so great, our Netflix game, her background as a child psychologist, and much more too. I'll be meeting Agata at our This Reportage and This Reportage Family Christmas party on December 6th as well, which is just a few days away now. Can't wait. Right, over to Agata. Hey Agata, how you doing?
Hi Al, I'm very well, thank you. Thanks so much for having me.
Oh, thanks for coming on. An honor to have you on here. Yeah, thank you. How is it with you at the moment? Are you based in London or near London or?
Yes, I am in London, indeed, North London.
Oh, okay, cool, nice. And what's the weather like?
It's beautiful today. It's sunny. I can't believe that. It is actually sunny.
That is good. That's good. It's sunny here too in Cornwall. It was been torrential rain for the last 2 days, and we had a storm overnight, but it is very nice here. That is good. Yeah, so you said you live in North London. I really don't know London very well at all, actually. How long have you been living there?
I've been in London for over 15 years, and most of that time here in North London. Okay. It's I love it here, and I was actually speaking with somebody yesterday. I said, well, this is where I'm staying. I found my place. I'm here. I'm not going anywhere.
That's cool. Yeah, great stuff. I love to visit London. Love it. And I'll be seeing you. You're going to come to the Christmas party in December, aren't you?
Yes, I am. I'm looking forward to it.
Oh, me too. As well. It'd be fab to properly meet you in the flesh as well. Yeah, that'd be really cool. Do you ever been down in Cornwall?
Yes, actually, for the first time this year, because I've been meaning to go for all of the 15 years, because this is where everybody says you have to go to Cornwall. But somehow each year when it came to summer, I thought, well, Cornwall is beautiful, but it might rain. Maybe next year. But we did go this year, and it was amazing. The weather was brilliant. And I have to say, I'm not a beach holiday kind of person. I get really bored, but beach holiday in Cornwall is a completely different ball game. I loved it. There's so much to do there, and the kids loved it too. So we will be going back.
Oh, that's great. Oh, good stuff. I'm glad the sun was out for you when you came. It does make a big difference, actually, does it? Where in Cornwall did you go to?
I'm probably going to mispronounce it, but Portlaven.
Oh, right. Yeah. No, it's lovely. Yes. Oh, really nice. Oh, that's cool. I'm glad you had a good time. Yeah. I need to make the most of it. And I live only like 15 minutes from nearest beach, and like a 40-minute walk, actually. The only time I generally go is like walking my dog down to it. I need to appreciate it more. It's funny, isn't it? When you live somewhere, you generally don't appreciate the things so much sometimes.
Exactly. I have a lot of international friends, partly because my daughter goes to international school, and all of them know so much more about London than I do, because they are a lot of them are on a limited time here, and they're using it well. Whereas I'm like, I can always go there to see this or that, and then I never do.
Yeah, no, I get that. That's true. We went on a little family holiday to London this year. Obviously, our only holiday. We've not been abroad, obviously, since COVID as well. But we went for like 4 days in London. I just had a super time taking the kids there. It was awesome.
I think it's a fantastic city, and I know that quite often people say, we had kids and then we moved out of London, and I have to say I can never understand that. For me, first time I came to London when I was 16 years old, immediately fell in love with the city and promised myself that one day I will come back to live here. So that's what happened. But I vividly remember from being a child myself that I really wanted to live in a big city, to have all the opportunities to do things, because I grew up in a small town and I could never do things I was passionate about. So I feel really fortunate to be able to raise my children here, and pretty much any kind of activity they want to do or things they want to see, it's here.
Yeah, sure. It's right on your doorstep.
It is.
Of course, that's awesome, and so multicultural as well, which is such a benefit. I mean, down here in Cornwall, I have to say, it's really not multicultural. It's an odd kind of it's just, I don't know, it's just very strange down here, which isn't very healthy, bringing up children in that kind of atmosphere, actually. So,
I actually remember you talking about that in a different podcast. And yes, I this is the aspect of living here that I love. And for us as an international family, it feels especially important. But yeah, I think, when I'm in London, I don't feel a foreigner, but it changes when I leave London, because I've never had anything sort of not nice happen to me, but you just feel different.
Okay, that's interesting. Funny. I have to say, when we were in London, by the way, I don't know if you've done this or not, but you probably haven't, because you live in London. But we did a Thames boat trip tour. It was a horrible histories tour on a boat along the Thames. Yeah, it was so good. I loved it. I think I enjoyed it more than the kids. It was really good. Honestly, really recommend that. It was awesome.
I have to do that with my kids then. You see, this is what I mean. You are telling me about cool things to do in London.
Oh, it's funny. How old are your kids?
They are 4 and 7.
Oh, cool. Nice ages. Yeah, they'd appreciate it. I think especially the 7-year-old. But they'd enjoy that, I think. Yeah, it's cool.
Yeah, the 4-year-old would probably just want to jump out of the boat.
Yeah. Oh, that's true. Cool. Agata, I wanted to congratulate you on your website first off, by the way, because I just think it's fab, and specifically how it opens with such a great video of you, talking, explaining it's so good. The way, you talk about why you do what you do, the way you work, and showing like behind the scenes footage of you working. I think you get such a great sense of your personality instantly, so warm and welcoming. I think it's such a good idea. So I just wonder, could you tell us more about that, getting that video done and implementing it on your website like that?
Yes, well, thank you so much. I'm so glad you liked it. It took quite a while to have it built. It was custom built by a fantastic company. And I did want it to feel very personal, because my business is me. It is just me.
Yeah,
and
sure.
I do. So one thing I do, I always try to develop sort of close personal relationship with my clients, because I think it's really important when you are photographing people. And
sure.
I do 2 kinds of photography. It's like polar opposite types. So on one end of the spectrum is studio portraits. On the other is the documentary photography. And I think if you are hanging out with a family for a day, they have to sort of warm up to you. You have to sort of be there. I don't really adopt this sort of fly on the wall approach. I think if you want people to be natural and enjoy the day and just really show you who they are, and so let their guard down, you have to sort of be friends. They have to be comfortable with you around.
Yeah, sure.
So this is what I always try to achieve during the sessions, and I wanted to convey that through the website as well.
Well, you did it so successfully. Honestly, that video is so cool, how it's the first thing straight away on your homepage. It's you there talking so lovely, and you just seem so just welcoming and lovely. I know if I was looking for a family photographer and I came across your site, I'd be like, wow, yeah, she's great. I want her. Even before seeing the images, which of course are awesome, but that personality side, that warmth is just so important, I think.
Oh, thank you so much.
No, it's really cool. Honestly, I love it. And I'm guilty of it myself, though, on my website. Obviously, I see so many websites and a lot of them look so similar, and they don't have that personality of the photographer at all. And I'm guilty, I think, of it on mine, especially my homepage is a bit generic and I need to change it. Was it your idea to have that video then, or was it like the web team you had involved? Or
I think it was a joint idea. So we had a lot of briefing, and I knew I wanted it sort of quite dark, just to make it a little bit different. And I think it really conveys sort of how I wanted it to be. And just after it was done, it was actually nominated for a Webby Award, and it won another award. So obviously that's the programmers and the developers, designers.
That's cool.
But, I was. Yeah, that was very exciting.
That's very cool. Yeah, award-winning photography and award-winning website. That's very. I love the way it's very advanced though as well, because you can either like part way through the video, like a couple of times, you can kind of click behind the scenes, can't you? You can look at some of the images you've taken, and then also you can see another little video of is it a child of like doing Itsy Bitsy Spider? Is it? Was it?
Yes.
Yes. Yeah, and that's so cool. Honestly, I love it. Anyway, everyone listening now, you've got to go and check out Agata's website, and obviously I'll include a link through to it if you head to thisreportage.com or thisreportagefamily.com. It's very, very cool. Yeah, I love it. Very cool. No, I was going to ask quite personal. I know people are very often interested in websites, obviously, and they could go down the kind of template route, or they can have something totally bespoke. Was it a lot of money to get a really bespoke website like that done?
It was quite a lot, yes. I think it was done a few years ago, and it was a few £1,000s.
Right. Oh, but that's well worth it. I think that's well worth it for the result you got. That's so good.
Thank you again. I do love it. It's it is what I wanted.
Yeah, perfect. Very, very cool. Cool. And Agata, let's go on to one of your images. There's a couple of your awards that I'd like to talk about, actually, because they're both very cool. And one of your specific Reportage Family Awards that I love, I think it was one of the first ones you won, is a shot where there's 3 hammocks, and you've got them all kind of perfectly in the frame. And in the one hammock, a girl is being swung in it, and she has this expression where she looks like she's going to fall out. You know what I mean?
Yes, I do.
So cool. Can you tell us more about that shot?
Yeah, so that was our COVID holiday. Okay. And because I'm originally from Poland, so I think the first day that we were allowed to leave the UK, we got the kids in the car and drove for 26 hours straight, no stops to Poland.
What, no stops? But must have been a few toilet breaks.
Yeah, toilet breaks. That was it.
Wow, but 26 hours. How were they in the car for that? Was it okay?
When they were asleep, it was okay. When they were not asleep, complicated.
Yeah.
Are we there yet? Are we nearly there yet? 26 hours.
Wow, what an adventure though.
But yes, we got there. And then when we got there, of course, we couldn't really do much. So we just stayed for 3 weeks in a tent on a sort of small plot of land that belongs to my cousin. So it was like a big family holiday, extended family holiday, which is actually quite similar to what I used to do as a child, so the camping, sort of simplicity camping aspects of it.
Oh, cool.
So on that particular shot, there are 2 dads just completely out of it, sort of chilling, 100% in a holiday mode, and the kids just being kids and doing their own thing. And yeah, as you said, one almost just falling out of the hammock, and dad's just being completely oblivious.
Yeah, that's so cool to have that juxtaposition of that kind of excitement and the very relaxed dads. And I just love the way you framed it as well, though, to get all those hammocks in shot, kind of like leading your eye around through the hammocks and to that moment in the top left as well. It's a really cool shot. Yeah, I really like it.
Thank you.
I always find it's so interesting to hear the kind of history behind an image like that. Yeah, it's really cool. Yeah, so wow, 26 hours though. Was that on the kind of, did you go on the Eurotunnel or ferry or?
Yes, Eurotunnel.
Okay, cool.
And yeah, just through Europe. We did the same thing this year as well. 21 hours this year, so we're getting better.
Oh, a bit quicker. Yeah. Oh, that's cool though. Yeah, wow. I'm trying to think what the longest car journey I've ever done. I think it's only about 8 hours. So that, yeah, triple that. Wow.
I think once you have done 26, you feel like you can drive anywhere.
Yes, I bet. That's funny. Did you have like podcasts and stuff playing, or just like
audiobooks for the kids?
Oh, that's good.
So my husband and I, we were sick of. I think that they had 2 or 3 audiobooks going sort of all the time, and by the end of the journey, we just wanted to take our eyeballs out, or our ears rather. But yeah, that was what sort of kept the kids happy, and when the kids are happy, everybody's happy.
That is so true. That is like the life mantra, isn't it? And it is so true. That's true. So Agata, I read that before you were a photographer, amongst other things, you were a child psychologist. So I imagine that experience must really help with forming connections with your clients and helping children especially feel at ease with you. Can you tell us more about that then as well, and how you got into photography?
Yes, sure. So I have quite an extensive sort of academic sort of background. It started with international relations, then cross-cultural psychology, clinical psychology, where I did specialize in working with children from disadvantaged backgrounds.
Okay.
And then I moved on into research in psychology, business psychology, and then ended up being a photographer.
Wow, gosh. Yeah. How did that happen then? How did you go from that psychology world to being a photographer?
I think so, photography has always been in my, well, not always, since I was 18, I have, I've been photographing. So it has always been something I loved. And I think it's the only thing that gives me this feeling of flow. I don't know if you are familiar with the concept, but in psychology, there is this term flow, which means when you are so engaged in an activity that you forget the time, you forget anything else, you are in your zone, and yeah, sort of the world is at the same time intensified, but also stops existing. And
That's
this is
cool.
exactly
Yeah.
how I've always felt when I photographed.
Oh, wow. That's
Uh,
awesome.
but I never really thought of making it a career because sort of in Poland and also the family where I come from, it just wasn't like a career option. You know, you should become a lawyer or a doctor, have a proper job. So
Yeah.
it never even occurred to me that I could do that. And then when I moved to London, and I've seen so many people sort of changing careers halfway through their life, doing it twice, three times, taking risks. It's very different. I don't know if it's something about London or the UK, but it's very different to what I know back from Poland. And I
Okay.
think that gave me this impulse and sort of encouraged me to really go after, well, my dream, really cheesy as it sounds, but that's what it was.
No, that's very cool. Yeah, that's really cool. So you were working as a psychologist, and then, yeah, how did you literally, like, physically go into, becoming a photographer though? Did you already have, did you go and photograph some like family, friends first, or I guess your
Yes.
own children? You did. Okay. Yeah. Tell us.
Yes, yeah, it started. So I didn't have my own children when I sort of transitioned in photography, but
Okay.
I started photographing friends, and then friends. Then I went down from working full time. I was working as a business consultant at that point, so I went from working full time to working part time, and slowly building my business. And
Cool.
yeah, and then I think 8 years ago, I left that job, which was amazing. I worked in a brilliant global boutique business psychology company, and so I left there and I set up my own business.
Very cool. That must have been a super exciting but scary time as well. Was it scary doing that?
Yes, it was very exciting, and also it was so the same month I left. I left on actually 11th of September. And the same month is when I got pregnant with my first child.
Oh, wow. Those are two major life events in the same month then. Yeah. Wow.
Yes. So
Gosh.
yeah,
If
that
that
idea I had of fully committing to my photography business hasn't happened immediately because there was a child to build and birth first.
Wow. Gosh, what a time. Isn't it? It's funny how things work out. I wonder if maybe if you got pregnant a few months earlier, you might have been maybe less likely to give up the job even. I don't know. And then you may not have become more into the photography side.
I think so the story with me was I've always been sort of very open about that, and people can read about it on my sort of Instagram. My journey to having kids, to becoming a mom, was a long and bumpy one.
Yeah. As I saw, you're waiting for the Miracle Project on your site. Is that?
Yes,
Yeah.
yeah. So that was part of that. So it took us 4 years, a lot of treatments, and a lot of sort of some losses, and a lot of stuff happened until I had until our first baby arrived. So I think so in a way. So I did start photographing when I was still sort of trying to get pregnant, and I actually remember. So that was quite a big sort of motivation for me then. That's so I was going to a family and sort of documenting those sort of beautiful, special moments. And I think because that's what I was so longing for myself, I think I could really see how special all this is. And that became a big part of my motivation to record it for other people so they can really see it as well. What a beautiful, fantastic, special thing they have.
That's very cool. That's very lovely. I'm just thinking, like, I don't know. Obviously, did it make it harder though when to go and photograph other people's children when you were trying yourself? And did it not? I just wondered. Sorry, I don't know if that's a bad question, but
I'm just trying to. No, it's fine. It's that it was quite a few years ago, and I had a lot of time to think about it all and process it. I don't think it was that difficult. No, I don't think somehow I didn't find the work difficult. I think the personal, in my personal life, it was difficult, but not so much the work. And then later, as you mentioned, I did, once after I did have a baby. So when she was about 1 or 2 years old, I did this project, Waiting for the Miracle, which where I photographed and collected stories from women who struggled with fertility and child loss themselves. And the idea behind the project was to tell those stories, because I very vividly remembered when it was happening to me that it felt very lonely. It felt like sort of nobody was really openly talking about that. So by doing the project, I wanted to break the taboo and maybe reach out to people who are still in that situation, so they're still trying, and show them that, look, you are not alone. There are so many of us in that horrible boat that nobody wants to be in, but also that wherever you are, there is always hope, and sometimes it's more difficult, but you can get there. So the message from sort of me and all the fantastic women who took part was, you are not alone. So keep trying. You might get your miracle.
Oh, it's so lovely. Honestly, it had me in tears looking through that on your website, just to see those images of these women with their children, and to read their words as well about what they went through. And it's such an amazing thing that you've done there. I think that's really awesome.
They were all the women who shared were, and some of them traveled from outside London, and they were really open in sharing their stories, which was amazing. And I have to say, whenever I go back and look at the project, I still well up. And
I'm sure, yeah. Did it ever become an exhibition or anything? Because I could imagine that being such a powerful physical exhibition as well.
It hasn't become a physical exhibition, but it was featured on sort of some website, and it was also featured by the Telegraph.
Oh, very cool. Wow, that's awesome. Yeah, that's just such a lovely thing to have done, Agata. I just think I've never done anything so, I don't know, that's just so altruistic and so lovely, and just so using your photography skills to such a great worldly positive effect as well. I'm sitting here and thinking, I photograph weddings, which obviously they're important things, but they're nothing like that. It just always makes you think I should be doing more. And I hear people's like really inspiring stories like that.
Well, you are. But I think just doing what you do is a fantastic and amazing thing, because that's, of course, as you of course know, you are documenting the most beautiful moments in people's lives, so they can look at them forever. So that is a big thing.
Well, yeah, it's true, but it's not it's not like what you are doing there, breaking the taboo of such a thing and raising awareness of such an issue. It's just my self problems anyway. Wedding photography, obviously, I love it, and it is very important. But there are more important things in the world. That's all. And it's just inspiring talking to people like you, actually going out and doing these things as well, and not for a monetary gain as well. It's proper altruistic what you're doing, and it's just very, very cool. So massive respect. You mentioned about lots of psychology you were doing as well, and does that psychology background and experience, does it help with you kind of I don't know, getting on with people, or just like I can't talk today, sorry, like merging in well with the family and then being at ease with your presence and stuff? Does that experience kind of help?
I don't think that my psychology background helps with that, because I think when I interact with somebody, I don't, it's not sort of very sort of thought through. I'm not thinking about strategies, what to do, not at all. I'm just being myself. And just being interested and just trying to interact like, person to person. But it does play a big role in sort of how I, in my head, approach photography, and also in my motivation. So why I do what I do. And also, so there is psychology, which has this sort of huge impact on how I do things, but it's also linked with feminism. I'm a feminist, and so there's two things. So I think that most of my clients, the people who approach me, are women, sort of moms, not 100%, but the majority. And I think in sort of general, I think so these days there is so much pressure on women, on moms, to be perfect in everything we do. It's, do it all, have it all, be the perfect mom, have this perfect body, work and parents. There's this saying that I read once, which was something like that we should parent as if we don't work, and we should work as if we don't have children. And I think it really encapsulates all the pressure that women are facing these days. There's this, this sort of need to be perfect in everything. And when I think about sort of what I do, and this relates especially to documentary photographies, what I want to show people, I want to show my clients, I want to show sort of women that they don't need to be perfect. They already are. That's not perfect, but not perfect in the sort of perfectionistic negative way, but that they are enough. They are doing a fantastic job. They don't need to sort of do anything better, more. They're good enough. And I think quite often we put, there is the societal pressure, but it becomes internalized, and we were so bad at putting that pressure on ourselves. And so my goal and my dream with every single work assignment is I want to show people how I see them, which is sort of beautiful, fantastic parents, people full of personality, interesting quirks, just individuals. I want them to see themselves through my eyes, and maybe to stop and see themselves differently, and maybe through seeing how much work they put into everyday life, how much they love their kids, how much they are loved, how fantastic their family is, maybe just to be a little bit easier on themselves.
That's so cool. Yeah, totally. Yeah, I totally what you mean about that. Well, obviously, I'm not a woman, but I mean, I see with my wife that kind of pressure that she feels under to be the perfect mom, and something. I don't know. I just from my own experience, I don't feel that as a dad. My wife's always a lot more concerned about what other moms are doing with their children, if they're like doing lots of after school clubs and things like that, and she really feels that kind of pressure, which I don't know. I just don't feel, and maybe that society there's a lot more pressure, as you're saying, on women than there are on men.
I think there is definitely, I think, pressure on men and dads as well, but I think it's because of all sorts of historical, societal reasons. It's different, and there's definitely sort of more pressure on how we look. For women, it's for the society, how women look, our sort of bodies, our image. It's a huge deal, and quite often women are I don't want to be photographed at home. I just I don't look good, and it's like, you look amazing. You are you're fantastic. You are beautiful. You are an individual. You are loved. But there is a lot of this sort of hesitation about that that I'm not good enough, kind of feeling.
Right. I get that. Yeah, I understand.
And also think about this sort of worry that when people are inviting somebody, a stranger, a photographer, into their home, is the home good enough? Is it clean enough? Is it there is all this sort of worry that something is not quite right. So
yeah, I get that. Do you tell people beforehand in your communications, look, you don't need to clean for me. I'm not coming to judge you and your family. I want to capture, the essence of just how you are.
Oh yes, definitely, definitely. And some people sort of want to tidy up, and I say, it's completely up to you. I'm not photographing your house. I'm photographing you, who you are as a family, your day, what you do. I'm trying to photograph the essence. I'm not concentrating on if it's on your rooms, if they are tidy or not. I'm concentrating on what's going on between you and trying to sort of show the love and all the good stuff that's happening between people.
Yeah, sure, definitely. Do you ever turn up to a shoot though, and like people, you can kind of tell that people are not really being themselves, or they're kind of semi-performing for the camera? Do you ever get that?
I think there is that sometimes, yes, but often, I spend the whole day with the family. They can only do it for a while until sort of life takes over.
Yes, that's true, isn't it? Yeah.
And if sometimes kids start sort of performing to the camera, so I just stop photographing.
I think that sounds like a great way of doing it. Yeah, I'm not photographing that. Yeah, and they'll soon get the idea. They don't need to carry on doing that. That's true.
Yeah, and also, when parents are worried that, what if my child is in a bad mood, if they're not behaving, and then I say, well, that's perfect. This is when we get the best photographs. And so there will be, there will be action, there will be funny, because, kids melting down is on one hand not funny when you have to sort of deal with the situation. But I think years later, you look at this and you recognize this. And the image is not just a picture, but it carries the memories and brings back feelings. So it's pictures like that when not everything is necessarily 100% sort of happy clappy and brilliant and everything is going well. I think these are often the ones that we end up cherishing most because they are real. They make us feel something when we look at them.
That is so true. That is so true. I just love your use of the phrase happy clappy there as well. I like that. Happy clappy. I like that. I don't think I've heard that before. That's awesome. That's really cool. No, yeah, I totally agree. That's all super cool. I was just interesting as well. Do you know, because you've got kind of like two very kind of different sides of your business with like the studio portraits and the documentary side. Do you have clients that you do both with, that do studio portraits and also documentary sessions?
Yes, I do actually. For example, there's this one family who sort of became a sort of repeat client, and so we actually became friends. So the first session I did for them was a documentary session when they had their first baby. And then we did a couple of portrait sessions when they had their second child. Nice. And then I photographed their wedding.
Oh wow, that's all like a whole life cycle of photography coverage.
Yes, that's in reverse, but
oh yes, yeah, that's true. That's the modern way of doing it. Oh, that's so cool though, Agata. I'd love to. Oh, I guess I have done it a bit in reverse. Yeah, so I've done wedding shoots and then I've done some family shoots.
But that was the best wedding I photographed because by the time I photographed the wedding, I knew them. I knew their kids, and they knew me and my photography, and they trusted me. So there was very little. They didn't really tell me what to. They said, just do your thing, document the day, and so I had this license to just capture what I think is important, and I think I really managed to capture the essence of their day, and they loved the pictures.
Oh, that's very cool. Very cool. Cool. Do you do many weddings? Normally,
I used to do weddings. I don't do them anymore unless it's for a special client or so I can get persuaded. And I love weddings, but as you of course know, it's a lot of work and time commitment, which is difficult with a young family. But I absolutely love weddings. The emotions, the everything that's going on, the adrenaline. So being able to do this for a family that I know and I like so much was really special.
Oh yeah, that is really cool. Great, Agata. Sorry, let's have a slight change of tack. That's okay. Let's. Do you? I don't know. You mentioned you've listened to an episode of before, but have you ever heard how we've done our kind of little Netflix synopsis game?
Yes, I'm slightly fearful of that because I don't really watch a lot, but I'll give it a go.
Okay, nice. That's the attitude. Cool, great. So if anyone's listening now for the first time, I'm just going to read out a synopsis. It might be on Netflix or it might be an old movie or whatnot, and we'll see if Agata can get it and if you can at home. There's no prize, I'm afraid, but yeah, it's just fun. Okay, so the first one's a movie. It's probably about 15 years old or so, I guess. So, okay, a Mumbai teenager reflects on his life after being accused of cheating on the Indian version of Who Wants to Be a Millionaire.
Slumdog Millionaire.
Yes, boom, nice one. Straight in. That's great. It's cool, that film, isn't it? It's good.
It's great.
I've not seen it in ages, but I want to watch it again. I really enjoyed it first time. Okay, 1 out of 1. That's great. Okay, let's go on to the second one. So this is a series, and is a lot more recent. Okay, so struggling to come to terms with his wife's death, a writer for a newspaper adopts a gruff new persona in an effort to push away those trying to help.
Yes, Ricky Gervais, Afterlife.
Yes, well done. Wow, that's so good. That's great, because that's quite a niche series, really. That is a Netflix one. Yeah, it's great. Have you seen it then?
Yes, I have. I actually I don't watch that much, but the only time I watch Netflix is when I do workout. I have a treadmill at home, and this is how I motivate myself to stay on the treadmill.
Oh, that's a good idea. So it's set up in front of your telly. Yeah.
Yes.
That's really cool. Yeah, good idea. Nice one. I've just bought a little under desk cycle, so I can be working on my laptop and underneath the desk I'm like cycling. It's really good.
Genius.
Honestly, it's so good. My wife was skeptical when we bought it. She was like, I don't think she thought I was going to use it, but I know I use it every time I'm working on my laptop. I do it with sitting down watching TV even. It's really good.
That's genius. I need this in my life. Straight after we finish.
It is great. Honestly, it's really cool. It's called Desk Cycle 2. My one is called. It's very cool. Right, okay, you've 2 out of 2 so far. Final one. This one's trickier because it's a bit more obscure, I have to say. Okay. So it's a movie, and okay, the synopsis is: this music-steeped comedy draws on the world of a cappella groups to tell the story of an intense competition between 3 ensembles.
I'm not into music or musical films, so it doesn't ring any bells.
No worries. I've not seen it myself as well. Someone said it was good, so that's why I've included it. But it's called Pitch Perfect. Apparently, it's very good. But still, Agata, 66% is really, really good. So well done. That honestly is, though.
I thought it'd be much worse.
Well, you very, very good. Very good. Cool. Let's go more back onto your photography, Agata. Can you talk us through what a typical family shoot looks like for you? You know, like right, maybe from the prep work, if you do any, up to the beginning of the session itself, and what equipment you use, and so on.
Mm-hmm. So it always starts with a sort of email and then a phone call where I try to find out more about the family, the ages, the kids, pets, sort of what they like to do. I sort of talk them through the approach. I sort of try to put them at ease about all the clean house, the well-behaved kids kind of issues we've already discussed. I do ask if there is sort of anything particular they want to get out of the session. Maybe there is a special family activity they like doing and they would like captured, or some kind of semi-defined idea for a specific shot they have in mind. Because most families go into this and they don't have these ideas, but sometimes they do. So I want to know what the main reason is, why they want to be photographed, so I can then work on doing that in the shoot. And I just tell them, they don't have to dress in a particular way. They don't have to match. Just
that's cool. Yeah. do you ever find that people do wear matching clothes then and things?
No, I haven't. No. I haven't had yet, but I do always say, don't do that.
I didn't even know that would be a thing, but yeah, I can imagine it probably. Yeah. Well, that's funny. Yeah, cool. Yeah, carry on. Sorry, it's really interesting.
So then I usually arrived in the morning, either before or sort of around breakfast time.
Okay.
And I just hang out with them. If they, if they're eating breakfast, I'm there. If they are sort of going out, I follow them. I do. I photograph everything. they are doing, sort of including the bath time, of course, if it's age appropriate. And I leave after the kids are in bed.
Wow, that's a long day then. That's full on. It's pretty.
Yes.
Is it pretty intense? It must be quite exhausting.
It is really exhausting, yes. I was actually reflecting on it after my last session, because you are on your feet the whole day, and unlike obviously, as you know, weddings are exhausting because it's so intensive. Family sessions are exhausting in a different way because they are so much less structured. You don't know what's coming next. So you always have to be ready for the unexpected. You have to sort of try to predict what might happen, but also react to what is happening. And, little kids are completely unpredictable. They run in random directions. They do weird things, which is brilliant, which is why I love doing what I do. But it really keeps me on my toes. So I find that, throughout the day, I'm really concentrating, working really hard. But the moment the session finishes, it's almost like I almost immediately feel how tired I am.
I get that. It's that as well as the physical side. It's that mental exhaustion as well, though, isn't it? Because we are having to really concentrate that whole time.
Exactly. Yes. Plus, there's the physical one. As I said, it's the being on my feet. But I also have 2 cameras on me most of the time.
Cool. I was going to ask about that. Yeah. What cameras do you use at the moment?
Until recently, I had 2. I'm Canon.
Cool.
So I had 2 5D Mark III.
Oh yeah,
but
cool.
Recently, I upgraded one to the mirrorless R5.
Cool. You enjoying that?
I'm loving it. It's the autofocusing when the camera sort of focuses on the subject's eye. It just blows my mind.
Oh, that's so cool. Yeah, I actually went from 5D3s like you, and it was a great camera. It's still a great camera. And I went to mirrorless. I went to a Sony A9, and yeah, the eye autofocus like you is awesome. And the 100% silence. It's just so good for documentary coverage.
Yes.
And lighter as well, which is also a benefit.
Actually, the 100% silence, that would have been so good when I photographed the birth. So I photographed somebody giving birth, and this is when I was so conscious of the teeny tiny little clicking noise, but it's not that quiet when you are in the middle of the night in a hospital.
Yes, I bet. Wow, gosh, when was that? I again, something that I've never photographed, a birth. That must have been an amazing experience. When was that?
It was absolutely fantastic. It was 2 years ago, because that baby has just turned 2. It ended up being a cesarean.
Gosh.
But so it was all together. It was 30 hours in a hospital.
What were you there for a lot of that then?
Yes, I was. I was there. I was sleeping with them in the room with my head on the table. Well, sort of trying to sleep. That didn't quite work out.
Wow. Is this a friend or someone that you photographed before, or a new client specifically for the birth? Or
it was a client and a friend.
Okay. Wow. Gosh, it must have been an emotional experience.
It was super emotional. But I think first because it's a baby. It's a new life just entering the world, so I think it's super emotional in itself. But there were a few other reasons. It was so she was giving birth in the same hospital where I had my 2 children.
Oh wow.
She she ended up having a C-section, and I had 2 sections. So for me it was going back to the same room where I first welcomed and hugged my babies.
Oh yeah, wow, that is special. Were you able to photograph the cesarean?
Yes, I was. Wow. I was there. So yes, it's a very different experience when you're not involved in it. Involved, having the baby.
Gosh, I can't imagine. Would you like to do more birth photography?
I'd love to. I'd love to. I mean, it is even more of a time commitment than a wedding, and unpredictable for very obvious reasons. But yes, I would very much love to do that. I think you can't compare it with anything else, just to see that first moment when a child is born, that first meeting, the first time when the mother and the father see the baby, or mother and mother, when parents see the baby. It's just, can't compare it with anything else.
No, I bet you can't at all. Totally incomparable. What an amazing thing to have photographed. I wish. It's fun. I don't know. I mean, I'd love to, and a huge part of me would love to do that. I just don't know. Oh, I just thinking about it like just gets me emotional. I think I'd be a wreck behind the camera. I don't know.
You know what? It's. I think. I think it would be much more difficult to sort of watch something without having a role. So I think it's you are because you are there. Well, at least this is how I felt, because I was there photographing. I had a job. I had a task. I could concentrate on that, and of course, I was taking in what's happening, but I had a role, and I think that was very helpful. It's so in a way, all these emotions sort of hit you later when you put the camera down.
Oh yeah, I bet. Wow, amazing thing to have done. That's super cool. I also want to ask you about another one of your Reportage Awards, Agata. I believe it's especially important to you, and there's a little pandemic story behind it. Can you tell us about that? It's the one with the two children on a basket type swing, isn't it?
Yes, yes, it is. It's my kids.
Oh, cool.
In our garden. I think 2 or 3 days before lockdown was announced, I managed to order that swing. And
nice.
Thank God for that swing. The best purchase ever. So, when the lockdown started, I actually sort of sat myself down and had a serious think how I want this to go. Like, what can I do? What my priorities are? And I came up with a few things, but the two big ones for me was my kids and the relationship with them. I didn't want it to become big, scary, stressful experience for them, or this stressful homeschooling thing. So I thought, I'm going to prioritize my relationship with my kids and their well-being, but I also wanted to prioritize photography. I thought, I love doing what I do, and of course overnight my job disappeared. I couldn't do it anymore.
Sure.
So I thought, I'll just document the lockdown for us. So I photographed them a lot through lockdown. And that's sort of that picture is on the, they were just swinging in a swing, but, and I did panning. So for me, this picture, when I took it, I knew it's like, yes, this is it. I have it. This is what I wanted. And for me, it's, so it obviously has these personal memories, but when I look at it, I can see, there's movement. There's a lot of darkness and movement around them. And for me, that just really brings back how lockdown felt. It was dark and changing and unpredictable and a little bit scary. We didn't know what was going on. But in the middle of all that, it's my two beautiful children and the facial expression of my daughter. It was almost serene. She
looks blissful in that.
She had her eyes closed. She was smiling. There was a little strand of hair, her hair in her mouth, and she looked happy in the middle of all that. And it just became this metaphor for me that we create our happiness in the middle of whatever is going on.
That's very cool. Oh, that's so cool to hear from you about that as well. Yeah, that's really cool. And I'll include that if people want to head to thisreportagefamily.com or thisreportage.com, I'll include that image. That sense of motion you've got from it and the sense of bliss as well from your daughter's face. I think, it's such a serene image, as you were saying. It's, very cool. They must have...
Sorry?
Oh, sorry, no, you go.
Yeah, I now actually have it as a huge print on my wall. I think it's 1.5 meter long.
Wow, that is a big one. That's really cool.
Yes, and I did win a few awards for it, and it was especially meaningful because it's obviously nice to have your work recognized. But for me, this image is so special for me that it was amazing to sort of almost have it confirmed that others are seeing something in it as well.
That's very cool. Yeah, that's really cool. Wow, I just think having a 1.5 meter print up in your house is really cool. I don't have any of my photos like that big at all. I have actually hardly any of my images probably around the house. I need to do that more. My wife keeps getting random pieces of art and putting it around the house, but we don't have like any photos.
You need to reclaim the walls.
I do. I need to do it. I do, definitely.
There's actually research that when kids growing up in homes where pictures are printed and sort of presented on the walls or in albums as well, there is a lot of psychological benefit for the kids, and that includes sort of the sense of belonging. They sort of seeing themselves in a picture as a part of the family. It helps them feel sort of more secure, that they belong somewhere, that they are part of this bigger family unit. And
That makes sense.
it also sends a message to the children that, you know, they are important enough to sort of put on the wall.
Display around. That's so true. Yeah. Wow, that's an even more important reason to do it. I was just thinking I need to get a lot of my wife's art down, actually. But yeah. No, that makes total sense. I definitely should do that.
Hit her with the research results and, you know, reclaim the walls.
Yes, I'm going to say, look what I've just heard. Yeah. No, that makes total sense, doesn't it? It's totally logical, actually, to think that would have that effect, actually. That's yeah, cool. I guess your kids must be very used to you photographing them. Do they just totally ignore you when you've got the camera out?
It sort of depends. So quite often they're, oh, mom, not again.
Mm-hmm.
And, you know, I never make them pose. It's actually my husband gets them to, when he sort of gets his camera out, he gets them to, you know, smile, cheese.
Yeah.
So sometimes they do the same thing for me, and I say, no cheese, please stop. I never photograph when they are sort of smiling for the camera. But the thing is that they are sort of quite clever little things, and they have realized that I will do a lot to get a good picture. So they are allowed to do much more crazy stuff when I have a camera in my hand, because, you know, I will suspend some of our family rules if I think there could be a good photograph coming out.
That's funny. And they know that. They take advantage of that.
Oh, yes, they do. They sometimes tell me, Mummy, can we do this and that? But you can come and photograph, okay?
That's really funny. Oh, that's really cool. Yeah, I reckon I need to photograph mine more. I reckon they would do that if they knew that they could get away with more things. They would love it. Yeah, that's funny. Yeah, cool. Let's go to a random question now, Agata. If you had 24 hours totally to yourself and you could do whatever you wanted and money was no object, what would you do?
I would go somewhere that's warm, where I can be have a swimming pool outside with a pile of books, and I would read.
Cool. Are you a big reader?
Yes. Well, I used to be before I became a mom, and now I'm trying to organize my life in a way that I can read. But yeah, I have to be creative.
Oh, yeah. So that time thing is such a thing, isn't it? It's such a thing. My wife is, she's getting a lot of her reading done by reading to the kids, and they're reading the Harry Potter books now from the beginning, and she's enjoying that, actually. That's one way to get some reading in, I guess, if you don't mind reading like children's novels. Although the Potter books, I enjoy them as an adult, actually. Have you read them?
No, I haven't. And my daughter, I think she's still a little bit too young. When my husband tried and had a Harry Potter with her, and she really wasn't into it.
Oh.
But yeah, I try to sort of sometimes, you know, I sort of let my daughter sort of come into our beds and I say, okay, this is a reading evening. You are reading your book. I'm reading my book. And this is, you know, like an excuse for, you know, like a nice time together and cuddle. But I'm also saying to myself, okay, I'm doing an important thing here. I'm role modeling reading.
That's true. Yeah, that's very clever. But that is lovely, because that's true, though, that reading is seen as a solo activity. But just to be in the same room and next to someone both doing it, it's just really nice. So yeah, that's nice. You know, going back to what you said earlier, though, about having photos up on the wall of the family. Do you have many photos of you up around? You know, as a mom, do you ever get anybody in to photograph your family?
Yes.
Oh, that's cool. Okay.
Before COVID. I would have somebody in at least once a year, sometimes twice. There were years like the year when my son was born. I think I had 4 or even 5 photo sessions.
Oh, wow. Gosh,
and it's always documentary. And yeah, because I want to be in the pictures. And, you know, I do take a lot of pictures of my family, and then I print out these albums, and it looks like an album of a single dad, just doing everything. Because I'm never in these pictures, and it's super, super important for me. And this is also what I always tell my clients, because I definitely practice what I preach here, that it's super important for me to be in the pictures and to know that my kids will see what we did together, how much fun we had, how silly we were. And, you know, and I don't really sort of care, you know, if I look okay or not. Most of the time, you know, when we were parenting, things get chaotic, but yeah, I want this time with my kids to be documented.
Oh, that totally makes sense.
So we have a huge collection of albums, and it's not even everything that I have. There are still sort of pictures waiting to be put into albums and printed. I think at this point, I probably have 15 family albums.
Oh, wow. Yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah, and lots more waiting and pictures on the walls as well.
That's very cool. I was going to say, because you mentioned albums quite a few times and prints and things. So I guess from hearing from you, you do see it's very important that, you get images printed that don't just live as digital files.
Yes. Yeah. And I do have a huge backlog because, it's time going through everything. I have so many that I take, that going through them, organizing, editing, it does take time, but I really try as much as I can. And I really always talk about it to my clients that, if, digitals will just live on your computer and die.
That's true, isn't it?
And it's better than nothing. But you need to be in the pictures with your children. And if you can, just print them.
Do you have your albums kind of like accessible around the house so your kids can just pick them up and okay,
yes.
That's cool as well.
Yes, we actually, there's when my son is 4 now, and he's really getting into looking at the albums. He really enjoys seeing himself and so, who is this baby? Is it me? Is it Maya? And what did we do? So he really enjoys looking at that. Oh,
that's nice. Yeah. I'm actually thinking about that now. It just brings me back. I remember we had these little red kind of albums with little 6x4 little inserts, of photos when I was a kid. I mean, we were looking, like 35 years ago when I was a kid now. So I remember I did used to love looking through them actually. And I don't have anything like that now. We don't have any albums. I need to do that. Honestly, it's so many with these podcasts. I say there's so many things I need to do. It's just ridiculous. I need to have this massive to-do list. It's mad.
I mean, that's the other thing, right? It's there's parenting itself is full on, and then there's work. So I think it's easy to beat ourselves up about that. But
that's true.
Yeah, it is. I think whatever we can. So I should be doing more. I would like to be doing more, but I'm doing as much as I can.
That's true. Yes, that is so true. You're talking about photos that are being kept on computers. I know I've got photos from Christmas like 3 years ago, I think, which I've just not even edited yet. That is bad, isn't it?
Yes. Same with me. There is a lot that's sitting there.
Because I think it's one of the great benefits of being a professional photographer. I put that in quotation marks because I don't know what I don't know what that really means, really. But one of the great benefits is that we do have this equipment around. We can take great photos of our own kids. But the downside of it is that what it can be is that we're looking at photos all the time as our job. So then, I don't know, when I've got the thought of thousands of my own images to edit, it can go on the back burner a bit.
Yes, I mean. Yes, because once you've finished editing them for your clients, you just don't want to spend any more time in front of the computer. But see, for me, there's another aspect which makes photographing my own family difficult. Which is why I really, I often get others to do it for me. Is that I'm finding it. I often find it difficult to be both the parent and the photographer. And there are some basic things about it, like sort of safety. I have a crazy spirited, fantastic, but crazy 4-year-old. And if I have a camera in my hand, I can't save him from killing himself. So that's a little bit tricky. But also I can't fully participate and do things with them and connect if I'm photographing them. So that's, yes, I really struggle with that. So quite often I always take my camera on holiday with me, but often I don't end up using it because I really want this time to connect with the kids. So a couple of times I actually had a photographer coming and do this day in the life session when we were on holiday.
Oh, that's cool. Great idea.
I could enjoy it and I could fully be with the kids.
Very cool. Again, that's something I should do. Wow, cool. Where have you
come to Cornwall and photograph?
Oh yeah, that would be so cool. I'd love that. Where have you had that done? When you were holidaying in the UK or abroad? Or
that was in Mallorca, actually.
Oh, nice, cool.
But in UK as well. So just after my son was born, but when he was about 6 weeks, we had a bigger family weekend with my husband's kids from his first marriage and our two. We had a weekend together, and we had a photographer coming doing a shoot for us then.
Very cool. Great. Yeah, that's really cool. I should do that. I need to go on holiday first, but yeah. I should have done that when. I said, what an opportunity missed, actually. Just as I said to you, earlier in the year, we went to London for 4 days. That would have been a perfect opportunity,
A
actually.
lot of fantastic photographers down here, so yes.
Yeah. Well, yeah, exactly. Yourself, So, yeah, what a missed opportunity. That's silly. We need to go again. We'll go again, and yeah, I'll ask you then. That would be awesome. That would be very cool. Let's
Do
go
an
to
exchange. I come, you come here.
Yeah.
Cornwall, you can sort of swap services.
That sounds good. Definitely. Let's do it. Let's talk a little bit about the business side, Agata, and in terms of marketing for you, getting yourself out there. Do you know what's been the most effective for you, or one of the most effective ways of getting couples, whether that's the portraiture side or the documentary side?
Well, yes, hands down, word of mouth.
That's cool. That means you're doing a great job.
Business and word of mouth, yes. So people being happy with what I've done and just recommending me. Or coming again.
That's great, isn't it? Because that does just mean that you're doing a great job for that. No, that's really cool.
Well, yeah, I think it must do, right? It sounds.
No, yeah, it does that.
But
it's true. And do you get many of your clients book you like for a few years down the line? So you're seeing like children kind of grow in age as well?
Yes, sometimes it does. Yeah, it does happen. And, like with that family that I mentioned before, there was the first child and then there's the second child.
Oh, yeah.
So that happened a few times, actually.
That's very cool. And do you do much in terms of, I'm sorry, I was going to say though, do you do much in terms of other things like SEO or social media or anything?
That's on my to-do list, but usually towards the bottom. So I pretty much never get to it. So no, I don't do anything on my SEO. I know I should. I 100% should. It's 21st century. Everybody should be doing it.
Well, it's funny though. If things are working for you, though, then you don't need to do it if things are working for you.
I mean, it's I guess I would like to, but there's just never enough time. Like I would like to be blogging more consistently or sort of doing social media more consistently. But whenever there's a client piece of work, that's always a priority for me. Once I have delivered the images to a client, this is when I go to doing my sort of behind the scenes stuff.
I understand that. Yeah, I understand that. Have you ever thought? And I've never done it. I don't know if am I control free? I don't know. I just like to do things myself. But have you ever thought about the prospect of getting like an assistant or a virtual assistant to do that kind of admin-y social media type stuff at all?
Yes. So I am at this point. I could definitely use some help for sure. I haven't got round to doing this yet, but I have been seriously thinking about it. And I have also in the past sort of tried getting outsourcing editing, but that's being a control freak and a perfectionist, that just didn't work. It's the results were good, but they were not exactly what I wanted, and I just could not sort of let go of.
I understand that.
Full control of the end picture.
Yeah, I get that. If you're having to spend almost the same amount of time to go back over the work that the outsourcing people have done, then it's not worth it, is it? So yeah, I totally understand that. I've just looked down and it's been over an hour, and honestly, it's really. But yeah, I know it's mad, isn't it? Mad. Oh, it's been so fun talking to you. I've got time just one more question. That's okay.
Mm-hmm. Sure.
Okay. Okay, so quite a big one, but let's go through it because I think people would love to hear from you about this. So yeah, what would be your top tips or just bits of advice or just one tip, whatever you can think of to help someone become better at the documentary side of what we do, of family photography? Yeah, well, any thoughts or bits of advice?
Mm-hmm. I think it would be, that's going to be a big one.
That's okay. That's good.
I think it would be about answering for yourself why you were doing this. Okay. So finding your why, and then trying to maybe be with yourself a bit more specific what your point of view is, and what you want to achieve, what do you want to give to your clients. And so finding a vision and motivation that's uniquely yours, because I think this is when you do that, you will end up doing something that you love, that energizes you, and that will show in the images. So that's
Does that come from more experience of shooting more, or did that come quite naturally to you when you started shooting?
No, I think when I started, I was sort of looking a lot at what others are doing. I was trying to sort of see what the trends are, trying to maybe guess what I should be doing. And I think I lost my own voice and my style. And I think now I know more what I'm looking for in the pictures. I know why I'm doing this. I know what I want to capture. And that also translates to the specific moments. And that's actually, I guess, another tip I would have is when you're pressing the shutter, you should know why. Why are you photographing this? What are you trying to say? What's so interesting in this? What's in front of you that you want to capture? So I think it's knowing your big why and your little whys.
Yeah.
And I think that's where you will translate your passion and your unique approach to photography and your own uniqueness as an artist into your photography. And I think the right people will connect with your vision and that kind of energy, the people who are drawn to what you do. So I think, so it would be, just don't try to adapt, follow others, just do you, be authentic and real, and the right clients will follow.
That is awesome advice. Honestly, proper awesome advice. I've just been nodding that whole time. I know you can't see me, and we spoke beforehand, and we're both happy we can't see each other, or see ourselves. Really, it's seeing ourselves. Yeah, not each other, seeing ourselves. Yeah, but I was just nodding that whole time, Agata, and that is awesome advice. Yeah, really, really is. And it's just been so lovely talking to you. Thank you for coming on and talking to me.
Yeah, thank you so much for inviting me. I'm very touched and honored to be asked.
Oh no, thank you. My honor to talk to you.
And it's a real pleasure.
Oh, thank you. I've really enjoyed it as well. Thank you. And anybody listening now, do head to thisreportagefamily.com or thisreportage.com. I'll include a link through to Agata, my pronunciation there, website. And I'll include those two specific images that you spoke about as well. I'll link through to your miracle project as well. And I'm looking forward to actually meeting you at the, I can't talk today, sorry, at the party. Yeah, that's going to be fun. I'm so happy. Yeah, it's going to be fun, isn't it? I think we all deserve a party. We do deserve.
Oh yes, yes. Of all the years, we definitely do.
Definitely. So awesome. Thanks so much, and I'll be seeing you soon.
Yes, thank you. Thank you so much. Have a good day.
And you. Bye.
Thank you. Bye.
You've been listening to the 95th episode of the This is Reportage podcast. Agata was great, and I'm really looking forward to meeting her in real life at our party next week. Head to thisreportagefamily.com or thisreportage.com for a link to her website and her Waiting for the Miracle project, and to see the couple of Reportage Family Awards she discussed on the episode too. We now have 95 episodes of the podcast available, where we speak to wedding and family photographers from all over the world, delve into our back catalogue to hear from the likes of Ange Waterton, Lisa Hu Chen, Gretchen Yost, Alice Chapman, Lisa Winner, Laura Beth Davidson, Philip Swiggers, Ross Harvey, David Scholes, and many, many more. If you're not a member of this Reportage or this Reportage family, check out all the benefits of joining us, including an unlimited number of images on your profile, 60 individual award and 18 story award entries per year, invites to our physical meetups and parties, including our upcoming Christmas party in December 2021, exclusive discounts, hours of educational videos featuring tips and advice from some of the world's best photographers, and much more. We're currently judging the final collections of 2021, with the results to be announced very soon now. Hopefully see you soon for our Christmas party in London on December the 6th. No poses, nothing staged. This is Reportage. And this is bye for now.